What do you do if you're on a gig and the band leader or the artist doesn't like you or gives you dirty looks or is just kind of indifferent to what you're doing? This is a situation I encountered last week on a gig, and I thought it would be really great to discuss it. And this gig was a gig I frequently play, and I have good rapport with the artist. And the artist asked me, "Do you know any bass players? We need a bass player fill in for this gig." So I called a guy who I absolutely trust, who is absolutely solid for this gig, had him play the gig. And probably within like the first 10 to 15 seconds, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great gig because it felt good and this bassist was doing everything he should be doing. And we took a little bit of a set break, and my bassist friend came up to me and he was like, hey man, am I doing okay? Because I can't really get a read on what's going on. And he kept telling me he's looking at the artist and he wasn't really getting any feedback or like really any positive reinforcement, just kind of like almost like blank stares. And he was asking me, am I doing something wrong? Or is it like, I think I'm really on top of it. And I told him the honest truth. I said, you're solid, man. You're doing great. Don't worry about anything. And of course he was worried about it because he cares about playing. And that's why I hired him, because he's a good musician and he takes it seriously. And so an interesting interaction happened later on that day after the gig. I was actually talking with the artist and kind of found out that this artist was like, yeah, when I'm up there playing, I don't hear or see anybody. I'm just thinking about what I'm doing. I will notice people if they are doing something out of this world, either out of this world amazing or out of this world bad. But 90% of it is kind of in that middle zone. And I don't really pay attention to that. I don't react to it because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. And I found that really interesting because when I'm playing, I'm a drummer. I almost feel like I'm producing a moment and I have to pay attention to everybody. But again, this artist was saying they only really kind of pay attention to like what's going on inside their head between their ears. And it brought up a really good point to me that oftentimes we are told to communicate with people the way we want to be spoken to. When in actuality, I think we need to communicate with people the way they want to be spoken to. So especially as a sideman, this is something I think we should all realize, is that everybody communicates and values different things. Some people want just like the bottom line, tell me what to do. Like I've been on gigs and I've asked, the band leader or the artist, what kind of feel do you want on this song on the drums? And they said, I don't know, man, you're the drummer. I hired you to do it. Just do it. Some people want to chat about these things. Some people after gigs, they want to talk a lot and say, oh yeah, everything felt good and this is really cool. And then some people be like, all right, see you later. In fact, I still do. I message everybody after a gig and say, hey, I had a good time with you. Thanks for having me play. I would love to do it again. And I used to get kind of, I wouldn't say hurt, but kind of like, oh, when someone wouldn't respond to my message, like, oh, maybe they don't like me. Maybe they don't want to play with me again. Did I do something wrong? And it would get in my head. And now I just realize, oh, some people don't always respond. In fact, I've messaged artists after gigs and they haven't responded to me. And then 3 months later, they call me for a gig. And on the gig, they're like, oh yeah, you're the most solid drummer I've played with here in this town. And I had no idea. But everyone kind of communicates in different ways. Everyone values things in a different way. And it's a skill learning how to read people. And sometimes you can't read people. And it's frustrating and it's scary. But really, that's another reason why I always try to be as on top and as prepared as possible. Because if I'm unsure of how someone feels, it doesn't feel that great. However, I know that, okay, I'm solid in everything I'm doing. So I can't control anything else. So I really just try to worry about the factors that I can control. So yeah, the moral of the story is, man, sometimes you just gotta read people, and if you can't, just roll with it. And if you like what I say, if you disagree, shoot me a comment. Like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. Still don't have a sign off, but thanks for watching.